What if the state you retired to suddenly couldn't afford to support you? Imagine living your golden years in paradise, only to find out that the budget is busted, your healthcare is slashed, and surprise tax hikes are eating into your fixed income. These aren't just doomsday scenarios. This is the real 2025 financial landscape across America. The states we once considered retirement havens are now teetering on the edge of bankruptcy. And the worst part, most retirees have no idea what's coming. From ballooning pension deficits to sky-high property taxes and vanishing public services, these 10 states are proof that retirement dreams can quickly turn into financial nightmares. So buckle up, because what you're about to see might just change where you plan to spend your future. Number 10. West Virginia. West Virginia has long drawn retirees seeking a simple life, low housing costs, and a relaxed Appalachian pace. But the numbers tell a different story. Since 2000, the state has suffered a slow-motion economic collapse, with its population in steady decline. That shrinking tax base has gutted state revenues, while debt levels creep upward. West Virginia's dependency on declining industries like coal and its lack of economic diversification are pushing it toward the fiscal brink. Retirement might be affordable in West Virginia, for now. But the underlying structural problems are catching up. The state has struggled to attract new businesses, and the exodus of young workers means fewer tax dollars coming in. Despite relatively low income taxes on retirement earnings, reduced federal transfers and chronic underinvestment in public health, roads, and safety programs are becoming hard to ignore. For retirees who rely on these services, that's a red flag. According to new fiscal projections, West Virginia's deficit could grow by over 20% in the next 5 years. If these trends continue, public services could see painful cutbacks. That includes everything from senior health programs to utility subsidies and rural transit systems, services many retirees depend on. And here's the shocking part: even with its reputation for affordability, West Virginia is now facing a harsh reality. Retirement here might be cheap, but at what cost? Is this the beginning of a slow fiscal death spiral for the Mountain State? Number 9. Rhode Island. Don't let Rhode Island's quaint coastal towns and charming colonial facades fool you. Beneath the surface lies one of the most alarming debt burdens per capita in the entire nation. In 2025, Rhode Island's budgetary house of cards is wobbling. Pension deficits and aging infrastructure are forcing the state to divert more and more of its revenue into debt service, leaving less for public services retirees depend on. It gets worse. Property taxes in Rhode Island are among the highest in the Northeast, averaging between 1.9% and 2% of home value. That's no small issue when many retirees live on fixed incomes and rely on home equity as a financial safety net. Combine this with escalating healthcare costs and a limited senior service network, and the picture becomes grim. Retiree tax burdens in Rhode Island have surged nearly 15% over the past 5 years. That's money directly siphoned away from food, medication, or home maintenance. For a state that once marketed itself as a coastal haven for the silver-haired generation, this is nothing short of betrayal. So here's the question: how long can retirees afford to live in a state where fiscal recklessness and rising costs go hand in hand? If you think small states are immune to big problems, Rhode Island might just prove you wrong. Number 8. Louisiana. Louisiana is a cultural gem, rich with heritage, cuisine, and that famous Southern hospitality. But retirees in the Bayou State are now facing a grim truth: the state is running on empty. Chronic fiscal deficits and massive public debt are squeezing every corner of the budget. Healthcare, underfunded, infrastructure, crumbling, and those problems are disproportionately affecting senior citizens. The state's pension systems are woefully underfunded, with projected shortfalls reaching well into the tens of billions. That kind of hole can't be patched with charm and gumbo. Future tax hikes now seem almost inevitable, especially as Louisiana continues to lose working-age taxpayers to other states. Even though Louisiana offers moderate income taxes, retirement distributions are increasingly vulnerable. And while the warm climate and low home prices attract retirees, many are now second-guessing their choice. Local hospitals are under strain, rural healthcare access is declining, and state assistance programs are on the chopping block. Here's the shocking trend: retiree out-migration in Louisiana has surged over 18% in heavily impacted parishes. It's a warning shot across the bow. Are retirees waking up to the fact that financial ruin doesn't care how warm the winters are? Number 7. Michigan. On the surface, Michigan is a comeback story, with Detroit rising from the ashes and Grand Rapids booming. But that revitalization masks a deeper issue. The state is sitting on a budget deficit that's creeping toward $40 billion, thanks to decades of pension underfunding and mismanagement. And for retirees, that spells danger. Suburban Michigan communities remain attractive due to affordable housing and scenic Great Lakes access. But the taxes tell a different story. Retirement income is fully taxable in Michigan, and some counties apply effective rates exceeding 6%. That's a quiet drain on fixed incomes that few notice until it's too late. Recent surveys show retiree satisfaction in cities like Flint and Lansing has dropped by 20% over the past decade, and the decline matches up almost perfectly with worsening fiscal conditions. From public transportation to healthcare subsidies, vital retiree services are being quietly eroded. Is Michigan turning into a tale of two retirements, one for the wealthy who can weather economic storms, and one for everyone else trying to stay afloat in a state struggling to keep its promises? Number 6. Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania has long been a sleeper pick for retirement. It boasts scenic beauty, historic charm, and relatively affordable living. But its reputation is beginning to crack under the weight of growing fiscal strain. The state's public pension liabilities are projected to balloon to $50 billion in the next few years. That burden is already eating into budgets. Yes, Social Security is tax-exempt here. But don't get too comfortable. Other forms of pension income face moderate state taxation. And as fiscal deficits grow, so do concerns about future tax hikes. Many retirees are starting to feel the pinch, not just from taxes, but from service cutbacks as well. Essential public services that retirees rely on, transport, senior centers, prescription support programs, are already facing slow and silent defunding. And the warning signs are everywhere. Experts now estimate a 15% slowdown in retiree population growth in key areas like Erie and Scranton. Is Pennsylvania still retirement-friendly? Or is it just coasting on outdated appeal while the fiscal rug gets pulled out from under seniors? Number 5. Oregon. Oregon has long been a favorite among retirees who want scenic beauty, mild weather, and progressive values. With its lush forests, coastal towns, and bike-friendly cities, it's no surprise that retirees flock here. But behind the postcard-perfect image lies a fiscal crisis that's quietly snowballing. Oregon is facing a brutal combination of skyrocketing housing costs, collapsing pension systems, and an over-reliance on volatile income tax revenue. And retirees, they're paying the price. In fact, Oregon has one of the highest effective tax burdens on retirees in the entire country, largely due to its lack of a sales tax and its heavy reliance on income-based taxation. Pensions, 401k distributions, and even out-of-state retirement benefits. All taxed. Add to that rising property taxes and it becomes a perfect storm for those on fixed incomes. And the data is damning. Oregon's public employees' retirement system is underfunded by more than $28 billion. To close the gap, lawmakers are already considering benefit cuts, tax hikes, or both. In short, the safety net is shrinking while the costs keep climbing. Oregon may look like a retirement dream, but in 2025, it's dangerously close to becoming a financial nightmare for anyone over 60 age. Number 4. Connecticut. Connecticut might be the richest state in America when it comes to per capita income, but its fiscal health tells a very different story. For retirees, this state has become one of the most expensive traps in the country. Crushing pension liabilities, shrinking tax revenue, and a ballooning debt burden are colliding, and retirees are caught in the crossfire. The numbers don't lie. Connecticut is facing over $90 billion in unfunded pension and retiree healthcare obligations. That's more than $25,000 in liabilities per resident. Meanwhile, property taxes are some of the highest in the nation, and the state taxes nearly all forms of retirement income, even partial Social Security in some cases. But here's the real kicker: retirees are leaving. Fast. Over the past 5 years, Connecticut has lost more retirees per capita than any other state in the Northeast. And as the exodus continues, the shrinking tax base forces higher burdens on those left behind. So if you're considering Connecticut for your golden years, ask yourself, do you want to be the last one left holding the bill? Number 3. Illinois. Illinois has become the poster child for fiscal mismanagement, and if you're a retiree, this state might be your worst-case scenario. The land of Lincoln has more pension debt than 44 other states combined, clocking in at over $140 billion. And that debt isn't shrinking. It's growing, with no solution in sight. Even more alarming, Illinois taxes nearly every type of retirement income except Social Security. That means IRAs, 401ks, and public pensions are all fair game, at a time when services are vanishing. And it's not just a budgeting issue. Illinois is already delaying payments to vendors, cutting support for local governments, and slashing infrastructure projects that retirees rely on for healthcare access and mobility. In Chicago alone, property taxes have spiked over 40% since 2010, largely to cover ballooning pension costs. And if you think moving to a rural county will save you, think again. Many downstate towns are facing bankruptcy, and basic public services like road maintenance and senior housing are under threat. So why are people still retiring here? Habit. But in 2025, habit may no longer be enough to justify the risks. Number 2. New Jersey. New Jersey offers proximity to New York City, top-tier medical institutions, and coastal living, but it comes at a staggering price. This state consistently ranks among the worst for retirees, and in 2025, the fiscal storm is reaching a crescendo. With nearly $220 billion in total liabilities, including pensions and health benefits, New Jersey is essentially in financial triage. The state taxes almost all retirement income, has the highest property taxes in the country, and continues to face credit rating downgrades year after year. That's a recipe for disaster. Public services in New Jersey are already strained, with seniors reporting cuts in transportation subsidies, meal programs, and home health care. In some counties, waitlists for elder services have doubled. Meanwhile, the exodus continues. The retiree population has declined 9% in just the last 3 years, as many opt for cheaper and more stable states. New Jersey might still look glamorous on the surface, but beneath the skyline, the fiscal foundation is crumbling. And retirees are footing the bill. Number 1. California. California has always sold itself as the American retirement dream. Beaches, wine country, deserts, mountains, world-class healthcare, it has it all. But in 2025, the Golden State may be teetering on the edge of a fiscal cliff that even its wealth can't fix. Let's start with the hard truth. California's unfunded pension liabilities exceed $250 billion. Its debt obligations are among the highest in the world, not just the nation. And despite having one of the largest economies on the planet, California's tax revenue is highly volatile, heavily dependent on high earners and tech-driven capital gains. When the market dips, so does the budget. And guess who gets squeezed? Retirees. California also taxes nearly all retirement income except Social Security, and it has some of the highest marginal tax rates in the U.S., topping out at 13.3%. Add in crushing property costs, wildfire risk, and crumbling infrastructure, and you get a situation where even wealthy retirees are questioning their long-term future here. But here's the shocker: net retiree out-migration from California has surged 24% since 2020, with most heading to states with lower taxes and better managed budgets. And while politicians argue over policy, retirees are voting with their feet and their wallets. California may still look like paradise, but for many, it's becoming a paradise lost. There you have it, 10 states that could bankrupt your retirement dreams in 2025. These aren't abstract threats or doomsday hypotheticals. These are real fiscal time bombs, ticking louder every day. So what should you do? Don't assume a beautiful view or a mild climate means stability. Dig into the debt. Look beyond tax perks. Ask yourself, can this state really sustain my lifestyle for 10, 20, or even 30 more years? Because if you wait too long, the services you depend on might disappear. The taxes you thought were manageable might triple, and the paradise you moved to might just become your biggest mistake. This is your wake-up call.